Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, brought to you by Phoenix Boats. Now, here are your hosts, Alabama Bass Trail Program Director, Kate Donaldson.
Welcome into the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kay Donaldson, the director of the Alabama Bass Trail, and your host for this week's podcast. Man, it has been a crazy month of March. I want to apologize for not being on the air last week. I promised you a segment with Craig Grubbs and Matt Ferguson, your winners from Smith Lake, and was not able to do that for you. Coming back from the Bassmaster Classic, I just can't say anything other than just being whipped, tired, catching up on being out of the office for an additional 3 days, being out of my house for 5 days, and all the things that come with that. So, but we are back on the air. I am going to have Craig Grubbs and Matt Ferguson on here in just a little bit to talk about their win on Smith Lake, where that puts them in the points. And what they have planned for the rest of the 2024 Alabama Bass Trail season. So you can tell by looking over here on my desk, I've got tons of stuff going on, just had lunch at my desk, and now we're getting ready to record this podcast. So I do want to talk a little bit about the Bassmaster Classic. And if you've never been to the Classic, I highly, highly recommend you go. And honestly, I recommend you go when it's not in your hometown. Go when it's not in Alabama. It is just a cool vibe to get to see all the neat places that the Classic goes and how each venue is different and how each venue really caters to the Classic. It's just a cool thing. This was my 18th year to go to the Classic, and having only missed one, that was the one that was in Fort Worth, the year that Jordan Wiggins went to represent the Alabama Bass Trail. We had an ABT 100 at that time, and I was just unable to be there. So highly, highly, highly recommend going to the Bassmaster Classic. And I think John and Daniel would speak to this too. And maybe I get them on one week to talk about their experience there as well. Was both of them's first experience going as an exhibitor and getting to see a lot of the behind the scenes kind of things. So maybe we get them on in a week or so and let them discuss that. But just each venue's different, each city's different, the way they embrace the fans, the way they embrace the anglers, all the things that goes with it, from the Night of Champions to all of the sponsor dinners that go on, to the expo, to the weigh-in, to the after weigh-in, to all the podcasts that are going on, to all the media that's there to write about different things, all the anglers in the booths, everyone shaking hands and greeting everybody. It's just a really cool vibe. So we really enjoyed it. And I do want to send out a special thank you to John and Daniel for tagging along with me this week in Tulsa and making my trip a lot better, having someone there to share the experience with. And I did miss the Golden Girls. I'm not going to lie. I mean, they love it, but at this time in their lives, they're a little bit older, and it takes them a little while to recover from that. So I did get to fly in. I've never gotten to do that. I've always driven, and it was nice to be able to be home in 4 hours. So I really enjoyed that. I couldn't have done that had John and Daniel, mostly John, taken the reins and driving and taking everything there and bringing everything back. So really appreciate those guys. But we couldn't talk about the Classic without talking about and congratulating former ABT angler Justin Hamner. And Justin still fishes our 100s, but congratulations, winning his first Bassmaster Classic. A couple things I want to mention about that, and I try not to get too negative on this podcast, but we had someone, and I won't call his name because I don't want to give him any glory, but we had a guy go on our Facebook page and mention that he wished the Alabama Bass Trail would quit putting our mark on everyone, or quit taking credit for everyone or different things. And I want to say this: I am 100% not taking credit for anything Justin Hamner has accomplished, as well as any of the other anglers that fish with us: Dustin Cannell, Jesse Wiggins, Jordan Wiggins. We've had a ton of guys come through. Justin Atkins have fished with us. We don't take credit for any of their success. We simply say they fished with us before. And Jesse has gone on record saying that fishing the Alabama Bass Trail, having to adapt to different lakes, having to learn how to do those things, did prepare him for going out fishing the opens and then qualifying for the elites and now fishing the BPT. He has said that. I certainly think that fishing against the competition that these guys fish on the Alabama Bass Trail is different from fishing a club event. I think it is different from fishing a federation event. There's been great guys that went through the Federation that made it to the big stage. Take nothing away from the Federation. But if you want to compare the Alabama Bass Trail to, let's say, I won't call out any other tournaments. I had a couple come to mind, but I won't do that. If you don't think that Fish and Alabama Bass Trail is more competitive than other tournament trails, look at the amount of elite anglers, look at the amount of anglers who fish the opens that have fished the Alabama Bass Trail and not won. These guys are good. So I do think that the competition has helped them. I'm not saying that other things they fish have not helped them. We just simply recognize that he had fished our trail. We simply recognize his accomplishment. We wish him all the best. Every time I see Justin, I have good conversations with him. We've met at ICAST. We've talked on the phone about sponsorship. He talks to me like I'm a mom. I talk to him like he's a son. I give him the best advice that I can. And I've done that on a number of times. So I didn't feel any way other than to congratulate him and to recognize his accomplishment. I didn't think the Alabama Bass Trail needed any credit, nor do I think that we were trying to claim credit. So for the guy who wanted to go on there and kind of show his tail a little bit and hopefully get a few likes and comments, it blew up in your face. More people agree that it did help him to fish the Alabama Bass Trail. So props to you for that and have the day you deserve. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. I tell you, the one thing I did here at the Classic was the amount of people that are so tired of keyboard warriors and people who go out and create negativity around the fishing industry on a constant basis. Most people said when I was talking to them that, you know, they don't feel that there's a place for that in the industry. There are negatives in every sport. There's negative in everything in the world if you choose to focus on that. I mean, right now in baseball, you know, Shohei Ohtani's translator has possibly gotten him in trouble. If he was unaware of it, maybe not, but $4 million in debt. You can find some negative in everything you choose to look at. I choose to think that the fishing industry as a whole are good people. And I'm going to continue to believe that. I don't have a vote in whether or not bass bans, forward-facing sonar. I've stated my opinion on it. I think it's a tool just like anything else. But you know, you can find negative on any subject that you want to talk about. As I put it at the Classic, you know, there were people who didn't like Jesus, and so if people don't like me, that's okay. I'm all right with that. It is what it is. But I just think that was the thing that I took away from the Classic most in talking to everybody that I talked to. There has been a lot of negative. There were 2 boat wrecks down in the Toyota Series down on the Harris Chain. One was absolutely 100% uncalled for. It never should have happened. I hope those guys receive significant bans, if not fines and possible criminal charges for the role that they played in that accident. The other one I've just seen a video of, and if he was running a no-wake zone, then he should be banned as well. That's my opinion. I don't have a vote in it. MLF is not going to call Kay Donaldson. I'm just giving you my opinion, and that's how it would be handled in the Alabama Bass Trail. If you want to run a no-wake zone, then you get caught, and plenty of evidence showed that they premeditated that. They knew what they were going to do. The accident occurred out of that. 100%. I think there should be some long-term bans and possible criminal charges faced in that situation. So I did want to also congratulate Mr. Easton Fothergill. He finished 16th out of 56 anglers on at the Bassmaster Classic. He is a University of Montevallo angler. 16th place out of 56, took home a really healthy check, I think around 13,000. And then in the College Bass Classic, Tyler Corey and Scott Sledge from the University of Montevallo won the Classic with a little over 22 pounds on Keystone Lake. So not only does Alabama Bass Trail pump out amazing anglers, but our colleges and our universities are pumping out really great anglers. So congratulations to the University of Montevallo, to the Outdoor Scholars Program. They have had an amazing month, sending Mr. Dalton Head to the Red Crest, having Easton fish the Bassmaster Classic, and then having 2 of their anglers win the College Classic. Heck of a month for the state of Alabama. You know, Dusty Cannell wins the Red Crest there on Lay Lake. Justin Hamner goes out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, brings home the Bassmaster Classic win. It's been a heck of a month for anglers in the Alabama Bass Trail family and in the state of Alabama. So congrats to those guys. I know a lot of you saw on social media that we were at the Classic. We were in booth number 2225 at the Expo. John, Daniel, and myself, we got to meet some great people. And I will say this, we had a lot of low-lifers, as you may know on Luke Duncan's podcast. He refers to his listeners as the low-lifers. And we had a lot of low-lifers come by the booth and want to meet us. And I mean, from Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, California, Iowa, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. I mean, just all over the country wanting to meet us and get to know the Alabama Bass Trail a little bit better. And I want to say thanks to Luke for having such kind words to say on his podcast about us and for taking a risk on us. I mean, he's got a pretty big brand out there. He's got a lot of things going. You may have heard him announce his new endeavor on his podcast the other day. So he's got a lot of irons in the fire, and that he chooses to spend time with us 14 times a year on the Alabama Bass Trail is pretty special to me. So I just want to thank him for being, out there and saying the kind things that he says about us. So I also want to say, we had a young man. I say young man, I don't know his age. He may be my age. But he came by our booth on Friday and then he came back on Saturday. And I'm going to refer to him as the fish wrestler. He had a wrestling mask on. And just went to work. He was giving out brochures. He was giving out aqua clips, which is a free giveaway that we give away. He was giving out lanyards, candy, everything that we had at our booth. And he spent about 4 hours with us. And he's from Deatsville, Alabama. Had never met him before. He follows everything we do. Real big Alabama Bass Trail fan. But he stayed in our booth and he entertained people for 4 hours and had a blast. He said, I was going to go home today because I thought people yesterday were a little snooty and didn't really appreciate my humor, and y'all just took me in and appreciated me, and he was just fantastic. John and Daniel and I were blown away by his energy, and just can't say enough about him. I'm not going to release his real name, but we refer to him as the fishing wrestler. So thank you so much for the time and effort that you put into the Alabama Bass Trail booth. Just so much fun. The reason I say everyone should go to the Classic is I attended a Classic in 2008 in Greenville, South Carolina. And I saw a father and sons kind of sitting over to the side in the bar area of the hotel. They were eating. And I sat down and we just started talking. And that was in 2008. And Saturday morning, Daniel and I are leaving breakfast. And the gentleman spoke to me. And I sat down and I was just shocked that that was that same gentleman and his son. I see them every year. But now his son is working for Bass on a contract basis, taking photo and video. He also works for Red Bull doing some of their events. Just really, really good photographer, videographer. Got to visit with them again. Dad has moved from Cincinnati, Ohio to Naples, Florida. So lots of changes, but they still come back every year to the Bassmaster Classic. And I just thought that was just super, super fun. There's just so many stories that come from the Bassmaster Classic. I've met some really great people. The Thrashes from over in Mississippi that come see me every year. The gentleman that came from one of the faith-based organizations that was there that came over to see the Golden Girls this year, and they weren't there. So just really cool. We got to be seated by the Casting for Kids group, and it was just a really cool event. I'm really glad that we got to go. Looking forward to Fort Worth and next year. It's going to be around the same time of the year, I think. So looking forward to that. But we got to see a lot of our partners, kind of give them a mid-year update, even though it is only March. It is kind of our mid-season. We're getting ready to go into our third event of the year. So kind of give them a mid-year update on us, kind of get a mid-year update on them. As most of you know, the boat business has kind of slowed down a little bit, but they were still talking to them. We got to see Garmin, Yamaha, Phoenix, Rapala, Pro Guide Batteries, Big Bite Baits, American Bait Works. So got to see quite a few of them and get some updates from all of them. And it was fun to get to see those people that you talk to and email with on a regular basis, but to be able to hug them and see them and thank them in person is always fun. So and I'm going to tell you how we wrapped up our Bassmaster Classic. Saturday night, Luke Duncan and a few guys got together to do a podcast, but they also got together to sing some tunes. And if you've ever listened to Luke's Low Budget Live podcast, you hear him start that podcast with Biloxi Blues, which is a song he wrote about his dad coming home from Mississippi at the end of a long week. And so Luke Duncan, Shannon Wheeler, who does some social media stuff for us, as well as our own John Simpson, played the drums for them. It was called Luke Duncan and the Fat Rascals. There were two other guys, and I'm apologizing because I don't have their name. I know one of them played for the Turnpike Troubadours, but I didn't get his name. I'm sure Luke said it a bunch of times. But fun was flowing. We were having a good time, and I just didn't catch his name. And I think the other guy's name was Ben. I want to say he's from Bass University. But we just had a great time. It was a great way to unwind from a couple of long days at the Classic. It was great to meet a lot of people, especially a lot of the low lifers that follow Luke's podcast. So it was a lot of fun. But I'm gonna say, out of everybody in that room, inside and outside, Josh Butts takes home the win as the person who had the most fun. That kid lived his life and was living big, and I loved it. It was so good. It was so good. So I want to thank Luke for going the extra mile. I know putting on an event like that is not easy, along with everything else that he's got going on in his life, but it was certainly something John, Daniel, Jason Duran, myself, and everyone else that was there really, really enjoyed it and had a great time. And I want to thank him for doing that. Thanks for making sure that we knew we were not only invited, but really, really wanted us to be there. And we had a great time. So that's kind of my classic wrap up. I know that was really quick. I want to hurry up and get to our guest, Mr. Craig Grubbs and Matt Ferguson, your 2024 Smith Lake winners, and let them talk about their day, their win on the Alabama Bass Trail, what they are looking most forward to now in the 2024 season. And we'll do that when we come back here in just a moment here on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. We'll be right back.
Things you let me see.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. And I know I promised you last week that we would have these guys on, but we're going to have them on this week. Your 2024 Smith Lake ABT North champions, Craig Grubbs, Matt Ferguson. Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail podcast, guys.
Hello, proud to be here.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I mean, one way to get on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast is to win. And you guys got that done. So, Craig, how long have y'all fished with us?
I think we started the second year. We missed the first, and we missed the year that COVID hit.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've been here ever since.
Okay, so 9 out of the 11 years you guys have been with us. Yeah. Okay.
I think that's right.
Okay, first win on the Alabama Bass Trail, long time coming. I know you've been close several times. You've had some second place finishes, you've had some third place finishes, but you were able to get it done on Smith Lake. I gotta ask, I'm gonna ask both of you. Craig, I'll start with you. Did you think that your first win would come on Smith Lake?
Absolutely not.
Matt, what about you?
No, I thought it would be at least a Tennessee River, maybe Wheeler, but maybe, Pickwick we fish a lot, but not Smith Lake. We don't know that much about blue herring.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I was not. I didn't see that. I didn't see that shaping up that way. Pickwick, yes, y'all have had some really good tournaments on Pickwick in the entire Tennessee River, but I didn't see that happening last Saturday on Smith. I didn't see a 20-pound bag happening on Smith, but you guys got 20.26 and had a 7.01 largemouth.
Yeah,
That's
that never.
that never happens. I mean, that just never happens. How does it feel to be able to say I'm an Alabama Bass Trail champ?
I've been waiting on that for a while. We both have. I've actually went back and looked at the standings of the tournament a time or two to make sure that our still on top.
Make sure that we didn't change it or it didn't go away or something.
It wasn't a dream or something.
Yeah. Matt, how long have you been in competitive bass fishing?
No, probably since I was 14.
So just a couple of years.
Yeah, just a couple. We wanted to start fishing this Alabama Bass Trail because there are so many good anglers in it, and we just wanted to see if maybe we could compete with them.
Yeah, I mentioned that on the opening of the show that you guys didn't have privy to. Had somebody, I don't know, kind of get cross on our Facebook page the other day about a post I made about Justin Hamner winning the Classic, and that ABT wanted to take credit for it. We don't want to take credit for it, but I think it's just a testament to what anglers fish the Alabama Bass Trail more than it is to say that we had anything to do with his success. But if you come fish the Alabama Bass Trail, that's the kind of talent you're going to fish against because he fished here. Dustin Cannell fished here. Jesse Wiggins fished here. Justin Atkins fished here. They're all in the big leagues now. So that was kind of what I was aiming at, but he took it as though we were trying to take credit for that kid's win, and certainly that wasn't the case. So
Some people just want to be a booger about anything they can.
some people are just mad at life. They're just
Yeah.
mad at life. And I encountered one of them in the Dallas Love Airport on Wednesday as I was traveling to the Classic. And the lady behind me looked at me and said, just imagine how miserable her life must be if she was that upset about something that small. And it just made me understand that I have a whole lot to be thankful for, and I'm just going to go on to the Bassmaster Classic and have me a good time, and that's what we did. So let's talk about Saturday at Smith Lake. Very different tournament day as opposed to practice time. It was somewhat warm during practice, sunny skies. We knew Friday night we were going to get a booger of some rain. We got rain, came in on Saturday, rained for a little while Saturday morning. So totally different conditions to what you had. Did the lake fish similar as it did in practice, or did you have to do something totally different?
I'll let Matt answer. He ran the boat.
Okay.
Well, we started primarily where we were going to start catching spots, but the water came up about a foot. It muddied up. I think the herring moved out a little deeper, and I think the largemouth kind of run into toward the bank. And once we started catching largemouth, we just started going with that. And there was a lot of boats around us. They were catching a few fish too, but it seemed like we were catching the better fish.
How far from the ramp did you run?
Oh, we went a good piece up Ryan
Okay.
Creek. It was not all the way to the back, but a good piece up it.
Okay. Craig, I think I remember talking to you while Matt was doing the polygraph that you guys didn't catch largemouth during practice at all.
No, I think we caught one during
Okay.
3 days of practice.
Okay.
And
So
then they showed up and we
and-
showed up.
y'all sure did. You sure did. The largemouth showed up and you guys showed out. How many fish do you think you caught on Saturday, Matt?
We both caught one short foot fish apiece, and I think I caught twice. So we didn't catch but like 9 fish total.
Okay.
We had a pretty good limit. By lunch, 12 o'clock, and like I said, there was a bunch of boats around us, and I told Craig, I said, I think we've exhausted this area. I hate to leave it because there's fish here, but I think we need to run some of these other places that we caught fish practice and see if we can call up. We culled twice for a total of 1 pound upgrade. So without culling, we wouldn't have won.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that close. I mean, you had a big guy behind you, Jordan Wiggins, I think that had 20.03. You had to want to see him come across the stage before you could really breathe. And I think he was a little bit later. Were you worried about that later flight? Because we kind of thought as the sun got up, that the fishing would get a little bit better. Were you worried about those later flights?
I thought when the sun come out, the fishing would actually get a little tougher on what we were doing
Okay.
up in the muddy waters. But I wasn't sure about what everybody else was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know sight fishing, if the sun come out, it would have really helped some people.
I don't think we were right there though. I know I saw a couple of people said they caught one on bed, But for the most part, I think maybe this Toyota series that's getting ready to happen there next week, they may get to see some of those bed fishing, but we didn't see that.
Yeah, they should hit it about right if the water stabilizes anyway.
Well, if you've looked outside, I know you're over in Mississippi. We've gotten a tremendous amount of rain over the last 24 hours. It's been kind of crazy. What time did you catch the big fish?
8 o'clock, I guess. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
Yeah, probably 8:30.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna have to go through that with me. How do you calm yourself down after catching a 7-pound largemouth on Smith Lake?
I had to put the power poles down and think about it for just a few minutes. That was a big one on Smith. That's the biggest one I've ever seen on Smith Lake. I'm sure there's a lot bigger ones there, but for my time, that's the biggest one I've seen.
I don't
A 7 pounder on that lake takes one fish away from a competitor. That's 2 3.5 pounders, which are both good fish on that lake.
right, right.
So
We've
we just
seen,
got in an extra fish for that one.
yeah, yeah.
What's funny about it, he had already caught a 5-pounder that I was ecstatic about. I thought that was a big fish. And then he turned around and caught a 7. So I was in non-belief, really.
Oh, I can. It kind of makes me sad I didn't have a camera on y'all because I would have really liked to have seen that. I needed to see that reaction on that 7-pounder because on the Tennessee River, that's a good fish. Don't get me wrong. But when you're at Smith, especially going from the practice that we had to the tournament conditions we had, that I can just imagine that there was some celebration, but yet, okay, how do I now regroup and keep fishing? Because that's still just that's still just 12 pounds. We got to get to 20 at some point. So that's cool. That's cool. I would have loved to have had a camera on y'all then. I'll be honest with you. So you're fishing shallow, you're fishing muddy water. About how deep do you think you were?
The big fish, I actually seen the big fish bite. We had a limit and we moved in shallower. I was throwing a swim jig. I swam it across a brush pile and a brush pile under the water, probably 4 foot, and she come up to just nearly under the surface. And,
So
and man, I think I told Matt I needed a net before I set the hook.
wow.
So,
Did forward facing sonar or no?
no, not. We did in practice, but during the tournament, we did not use it at all.
Did not use it at all. Okay. I think that'll surprise some people. I knew you told me that while we were sitting there talking as Matt's doing the polygraph, that you did not use forward facing sonar. I know that's a big debate right now with more professional fishing as opposed to amateur fishing like what we do. But I wanted to point that out that you guys were able to secure a 20.26 limit without using forward facing sonar on that day.
Yep, and didn't use it. We had it on, but we never caught a fish we were looking at.
Did you use swim baits primarily or what other baits did you use?
DT10 and jerk bait mostly.
Okay. All right.
Got a
And
limit, moved up shallower.
yeah. So jerk bait, any specific colors that you want to talk about or?
I think I was using it was a Mega Bass Skeleton Tennessee or Tennessee Skeleton or something,
Mhm.
something like that.
Okay. All right. So no jigs, nothing like that. Didn't go into the jig fishing, anything like that.
I did
Nope.
catch one of our cuttlefish pitching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What color jig were you using?
I was using a structure bug,
Okay.
just Texas rig, uh, throwing it in shallow brush piles, and that was after we had a limit. We was just trying to upgrade before weigh in,
Okay.
and it wasn't but a half a pound, but it helped.
Yeah, definitely. So brush piles were mainly what you were targeting? No,
Mhm.
no lay
Yeah,
downs or rocks or okay. All right, good deal.
a lot
Um,
of those boathouses have brush piles in front of them that the owners have planted, I guess.
yeah. are sunk. A lot of Christmas trees and stuff like that are sunk out there after Christmas. Win the Alabama Bass Trail, win the second event of the year. You've got 3 more left. Got to be good knowing that you're in the championship. You can go ahead and make your reservations at Lay Lake, but what's next? I know Wheeler's next on the list. You got to almost have your eye there. I mean, you guys fished there a good bit. You've had some really good finishes there. What do you concentrate on now? I think, what are you, 3rd, 4th in the AOI points?
5th, I think.
5th, okay.
I'm assuming the spawn will be going on. If it's already passed, at least we'll have a shad spawn. So it's going to be either spawning fish or shad spawn, either one. I don't have to wait till we get down there and see how far along they are.
Mm-hmm. Be nice to go back to back.
Yeah,
It would.
Look, Matt can't even look at me when I say that. He
No,
doesn't turn away.
Yeah, that would be a feather in my hat for sure.
We've never had back-to-back winners. We've had 2 teams win 2 tournaments in a year, but we've never had back-to-back tournaments won. Could happen. Matt's Craig's over here just shaking his head. He like don't even want to think. He doesn't even want to get that in his mind right now. So
Hey, if
No.
they're up shallow and we can pitch to them like we like to do, we'll have a chance.
yeah. Going to be a fun tournament. I've said this on the podcast the week before. I think that Wheeler, to me, I always pick one lake in the series that I feel like is going to be the game changer. And I think Wheeler in the north, I think that's going to be the one. I highlighted a couple of teams, the 2 teams that are in the lead in the Angler of the Year. Damien and Tyler have not done well traditionally. They either win or they don't do well. So they either really, really do well or they are finishing 60th place. So they're going to have to really do well to be able to maintain a lead over Fisher and Ryan and Naya. Those guys spend a ton of time on Wheeler. So you guys spend a ton of time on Wheeler. Ben and Justin have a lot of Tennessee River time. Stephen McElwee, Josh Butts, all those guys between that 1 and 5. They're going to have to really, really catch them at Wheeler, I think, to maintain those top 5 numbers. So I think Wheeler's going to be the game changer in this division. So I know
I
Matt.
hope grass come back.
I have not been on the lake. I haven't even really paid much attention to the lake. I've been so far. We were 3 weeks back to back between Martin, Smith, and then going to the Classic. We've been gone for 3 weeks, so I haven't really got to pay a lot of attention to it, but I'm looking forward to being there. I love being at home. I love being able to stay in my own bed, know what restaurants to go to. I know all that. So it's a little bit easier for me to do this, but how much have you fished on Lay Lake?
I've never been on it.
I can't remember ever being on it.
All right. So going to be newcomers to Lay Lake. Got a good chance to go back to back here at Wheeler. That'd be fun. But Craig, I know you said to me as he's doing the polygraph, your goal is to get back to the Bass Team Championship. Is it still your goal, knowing that it's going to be at Lake? Is it like Ouachita in Missouri, like West Monroe, Missouri, or no, West Monroe,
Louisiana, I think.
Louisiana? Yeah, West Monroe, Louisiana. Is it still your goal to get?
Anytime you have a chance to fish a tournament, to go fish the Bassmasters Classics, I mean, you can't just, that would be a dream come true to make it to the Classic.
Yeah, I agree. And to experience what those guys experienced this week was really cool. It is a lot. I know it's hard to manage all of it. I know talking with Shane Powell, who's done it with us, and Jordan Wiggins, it's just a lot. If you could just go there and focus on fishing, I think most of them would like to do that, but everything else that you have and the pomp and circumstance that goes along with it is a lot. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot. I've never got to be on that side of it, but it sure seems like a lot of fun.
I'd love to do it.
Oh yeah, it'd
It'll
be cool. Well, you guys are currently sitting inside that top 9. You're gonna have to catch them all the way to get there. It usually takes about 900 points to get inside that top 9 to make it to the Bassmaster Team Championship. You've already punched your ticket to the Alabama Bass Trail Championship, so you can breathe a little bit easier. But I know that that's not going to stop you guys. You guys are going to be going after it left and right to get as high as you can get, and hopefully maybe bring home that $5,000 Angler of the Year bonus. That'd be nice.
That'd be cool too.
Angler of the Year is a pretty prestigious thing here on the Alabama Bass Trail, no doubt.
No doubt.
Anything you guys want to say to anyone who might be interested in fishing the 2025 Alabama Bass Trail Tournament Series?
I would tell them
Right.
that if they want to fish the best ran, best ran bar none tournament I've ever been a part of. This is it. I mean, it goes down without a hitch every single time, and you're fishing against some of the best anglers that I've ever even around. These guys, like you said, it seems like every year another guy goes on to the MLF or fishing professionally. So if if they want to, see what they're made of, this is where to do it.
Yeah. Craig?
Just get a good rain suit and some warm clothes because you're going to have some adverse weather conditions.
Well, that wasn't nice, Craig. I may have to edit
Hey,
that part out.
the truth.
It's
Well,
not nice, but it is the truth.
it is the truth.
They actually blamed Sunday's weather on me in Tulsa because the wind got up to 45 miles an hour. The temperature dropped about 20 degrees. It was raining, tornadoes. Yeah, I got blamed for that too. So
Yeah.
I went ahead and flew out a little early. So yeah, I got blamed for that too. Well, thank y'all for spending some time with me today. Congratulations on your first win on the Alabama Bass Trail Tournament Series. And I look forward to seeing y'all in just over a month at Wheeler Lake.
We're
You
looking
guys,
forward to it.
y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, there they are, your 2024 Alabama Bass Trail North Division Smith Lake champions. Craig Grubbs, Matt Ferguson won big on Smith Lake. And when I say big, 20.26 with a 7.01 largemouth. We'll be back in just a minute to wrap this thing up and get you guys back out on the water. Stay tuned on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats.
Big banks only care about one thing: ROI. So when it comes to your small business, you can expect a big no. At AmFirst, we don't just invest in your business, we invest in you and your goals. With great rates on loans, lines of credit to help you grow, and business checking accounts. Because at AmFirst, business is personal.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Just a few things before we wrap this little segment up. I did want to talk a little bit about, as I mentioned to Craig and to Matt during that segment, we are midway through the season and points are going to be extremely important. And I think that guys that need to catch them, I think in the North, it's going to be Wheeler. If you're wanting to stay in that top 9, you're going to have to catch them at Wheeler. I think the season just gets better as we go along. I think Neely Henry's going to be at its time on the 18th when we get there. And then Gunnersville on June the 22nd. It's going to be a big, big lake. So looking forward to that. But I do think this, what we consider the hump tournament, the middle of the year tournament, I think it's going to be great. And in the South, though, we'll be heading down to Logan Martin Lake. We've been there already this year. And my only hope out of this tournament is that it's not 14 degrees when we blast off. That was miserable. We certainly expect a lot of fish to be weighed in. This is one of those lakes where we have a ton of limits. So you're going to see guys weigh in. They're still trying to get inside that top 75. So you're going to see a lot of people weigh in, and you're going to see a lot of that 10 to 12, 11 to 13 pound limit weight. They want to make it into that championship. So those guys are going to weigh in. Going to be a long weigh in. We usually have 2.5 hours of weigh in, and I think you're going to see something very similar to that. I do, they're trying to make it to Lay Lake. Craig and Matt, they already got that taken care of. They just looking for that top 70, top 9 to get into the Bassmaster Team Championship and possibly an Angler of the Year title. So good luck to them. As I mentioned, we're still a month away from Wheeler Lake. Think it's going to take a lot to win. I think a 25-pound bag is not out of the question. I think it could take a lot more than that. It's April the 27th. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be nice to be at home at that tournament. It's going to be fun to be able to see our local guys go out on that lake, and then some non-so-local guys to see how they tackle Wheeler Lake. But first up, it is Logan Martin, the Third stop of the Alabama Bass Trail South Division. So a lot of fishing left to do in the Alabama Bass Trail. Looking forward to that. March is tough for us. We had Lake Martin, we had Smith Lake, we had the Bassmaster Classic. We don't have another month like that until we get to June, when we have 3 tournaments, have an ABT 100 and then the final 2 of the season. So it is certainly going to be a busy rest of the year for us. And then you turn right around on May 3rd and we'll announce the 2025 Alabama Bass Trail Tournament Series schedule. We've had a lot of people ask about it. I think a lot of people got confused when we announced the ABT 100 schedule, that they thought the ABT schedule was coming out then, but it doesn't. It always comes out the first Friday of May. And then we start registration, priority registration, August 1st through the 14th. New team registration is always August 15th. Starts at 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So just a reminder, teams that are currently on the waiting list, you are on the waiting list for the 2024 season. You do not get priority entry into the 2025 season, and you would be required to register on August the 15th if you're desiring to get to fish that. So entry fees stay the same at $1,600 per team per division. So no change there. We'll be announcing that schedule around 10 o'clock on May the 3rd. So see what else I've got written down in my notes. Looks like that's about everything I have to cover today. I do want you to know it is getting the time to get out and enjoy the great state of Alabama. Dogwoods are starting to bloom. We are getting close to Easter. Dogwoods are starting to bloom. We've had a lot of pollen on the lake. We've had a great rain. Hopefully it washed off a lot of pollen. My truck was basically a yellow chrome instead of silver chrome when I got back from Tulsa. But it's that time. It's the time that the azaleas are blooming. The dogwoods are blooming. Hiking is getting great. The weather's warming up. It's time to go fishing. The fish are biting. So please make sure that you get out and enjoy the lakes, enjoy the beautiful attractions across the state of Alabama. If you're interested in visiting some of these places, you can always go to alabama.travel. They have a long list of all of our state parks, our other parks that you can go to, all of our outdoor venues, lakes, all that information. You can always find some of that on fishalabama.org. If you're looking to take a fishing vacation, you have some other attractions there as wineries, breweries, great restaurants and places, tackle stores and things like that you can find there. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I do hope you will subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcasting app. I also, if you have any ideas of things you would like for us to cover on the podcast, please send those to k@alabamabasstrail.org. If you have anyone you'd like for us to interview or topics you would like to cover, please send them to that. I do hope that you take part-time this week to get out and enjoy some of the great things about the great state of Alabama, and hopefully some of those will be outdoors. And as always, God bless, good fishing, go Blazers, and as Big Daddy says, get outdoors. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast. To learn more about the Alabama Bass Trail, make sure and visit alabamabasstrail.org.